Are you divorcing a narcissist? Oh my gosh, you're in for a battle. But you don't have to fight it alone. In this episode, we're going to give you all the tips that you need to have the legal and emotional game plan in place to not only thrive when divorcing somebody manipulative, controlling, or emotionally abusive, but also put them in their place so they don't ever bother you again. This is a special breed of person, and it reminds me, I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody in my office say, "Have you ever dealt with a case where the other side was a narcissist?" And of course, I always say, "Yes, they were your husband, they just had a different name." Or wife, it's not always the husband, sometimes it's the wives. And so those people, let's define a classic narcissist, Christine. That's somebody who's constantly gaslighting the other side. If you don't listen to me and agree to these settlement terms, you're not going to get anywhere close to this in court. And your attorney's an idiot. I know everything. So they'll gaslight you. They will, if that doesn't work, they'll resort to kind of delay tactics.
Sure.
All right. They'll try to be financially controlling, basically anything they can to bully you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I define a narcissist. Really, is a bully. It's a financial bully. It's a verbal bully, and they're just trying to take away the control because they really know at the end of the day, unless they can force you and intimidate you into agreeing to what they want, they're not going to get it.
Right. I think one of the key elements that defines the difference between just a bully and a true narcissist, and what makes it so difficult to deal with a true narcissist, is bullies usually know they're wrong, but they're going to keep bullying you anyway because they have that conscience issue. They don't really have a guilty conscience. They're going to know it's wrong and do it's wrong. Narcissists generally believe themselves. So when they are telling these things that to the outside world we know are lies or untrue or false representations, they wholeheartedly believe them. So when you say you can't argue with a narcissist, you can't. And the reason is because they will not deal in logic. They will not deal in rational thought. They will deal with whatever is in their head is what they have made their truth. And so when you're dealing with someone who truly is what I guess a psychological professional would diagnose as a narcissistic tendencies or narcissistic personality disorder, that's the hard part. You can have yourself, your attorney, their attorney, the mediator, a guardian ad litem, anyone tell them what reality is, and yet they're still going to believe their own reality. They're not going to get it per se. So that's why settlement becomes very difficult with a narcissist because they think that despite what these 6, 7, 8 professionals, they've probably been through a couple attorneys, telling me what the outcome's going to be. Oh, no, no, no. Y'all are crazy. The judge is going to see it my way. Y'all don't understand. I don't know why everyone's against me, why everyone is trying to tell me this. I don't know how you paid them off. I know a judge is gonna see it my way. And they get there and surprise, the judge does not. And then, they're still not gonna accept it. They're still not going to believe that they were wrong. It's, "Oh, the system's rigged. Oh, it favors the mom. Oh, women get everything." Or it's the opposite. "Oh my God, he's a man. So of course they went with him." So yeah, that's really kind of the true part of what makes it difficult. Of course, dealing with them on a daily basis at home or for the individuals, for the clients is hard. But as far as litigating against a narcissist, that's the hardest part.
Well, and the example you just gave is probably the most extreme narcissist, and those are out there. I don't see that one as much, but I certainly see that person. Most narcissists don't fall to that level of extreme, but they're certainly out there. With the narcissists that are not that extreme, because the narcissist you just described never giving up, and either they get what they think is right in their mind, or they have to have a judge tell them that they're wrong.
Right.
And so those cases, unfortunately, usually end up getting tried unless the person on the other side just gives in, and we always tell them not to because it's clear when you have that extreme narcissist, everybody, like Christine said, in the room knows that they are off left field, and there's no way the judge is going to do what they want. And so as long as you can convince your client to stay in the fight,
Yeah.
and sometimes clients don't want to do that,
They
and there's
don't.
good reasons for that. They're ready to be done.
They were tired
They
of
want to
the
move
here.
on. Yeah. They don't want to spend the money.
Yeah.
But if they can get to the finish line,
Yeah.
that
Worth it.
person
Worth
almost
it.
always loses,
It.
and it's worth it. Now, if you're not with the extreme narcissist, I'll give you my best tip on how to defeat the narcissist, and Christine may have the same tip or maybe a different one. We have not talked about this before the episode, y'all, so let's see how this works out. My number one tip, you got to stand up for yourself. You got to stand up for yourself. Narcissists are used to getting their way, and they are going to intimidate you and use all these tactics to try and get you to give in because you always have in the past. During the marriage, you've always acquiesced. Guess what happens when you all of a sudden out of the blue stand up to them and you say no?
Right.
And you say, I'm not doing that. Or I'm going to listen to what my attorney says. And you also need to have an attorney that's willing to stand up
That's
and
right.
has got some balls and can identify this person and is willing to say no and stand up on your behalf.
Yeah.
You start standing up to them and enforcing your rights and sending to them a message in no uncertain terms that you're going to fight until the end for what you deserve, they usually end up giving in at the end of the day. Now, they'll keep working on you
Yep.
because the first time you stand up, they're going to think, oh, I don't know where this came from, but this person's just having a random day.
Right.
If I keep working on them, they'll give in. You got to be consistent. You got to be steadfast. If you stand up to them and your attorney's sending the right messaging and they realize that they're not going to be able to convince you to give in,
That's when they play the
tone.
martyr. That's when they all 100% of the time they start to play the martyr. Well, I mean, I'll just, I'll settle because, and they'll justify it some way in their head to make it feel like they still won to themselves. But yes, that's when they start to play the martyr, and then they turn and they want to go tell everybody that, she really wasn't going to be able to make it without me, and it's not about money for me. It never was. So, I just went ahead. I just gave her half. It wasn't worth fighting over. Or vice versa, the female who's just, like, I mean, I understand that my children need their dad. And, while I still think that I would have gotten custody, I mean, it made sense to do 50-50. Plus, I want to enjoy my free time. They will make it a win in their head.
Well, and that's so true. But you know what? If that's what they need to
Yeah,
cope,
who cares?
we don't care.
Results are results are
It's
results.
done. Our clients
How
got
many
what they
times have
need.
you told your client, look, we just had to find out what their currency is and then make them think they won?
That's
I
right.
say it all the time. If you're dealing with a narcissist, make them think they won and you win. Easy.
That's it. I love it. So those are good tips. Now, what are some other tips we could give you? Keep in mind that if you end up in court with this narcissist, the judge needs to be able to see some evidence of this narcissism. And it's always great if you can offer something more than your testimony.
Sure.
Keep the emails. Those are gold. Keep the text messages. If you have audio recordings, awesome. Because you can present that to the judge and the judge will know exactly what you're dealing with. The judge doesn't have to rely on your side of the story versus this narcissist side of the story because they're going to be good at telling stories.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on to that stuff because a narcissist can't help themselves. It's going to come out in their text messages. It's going to come out in their emails. It's certainly going to come out of their mouth. So anytime you can hold on to that stuff and document the behavior, make sure you're staying calm. Don't engage back with them. Don't rise to their level, right? You need to kind of soften it down, let them make a jerk of themselves and then hold on to that evidence. It's gold in court.
Because like I said, they believe themselves. You said they can't help themselves. That's because they truly believe it. That stuff they're putting in writing, that's not just bait. They also believe it. They're not doing it just to get a rise out of you. Now, that is a big part of their motivation, but they also are doing it because they believe it's true. So they'll just keep on. If you just say, the best thing I tell my clients, the best thing you can say to a narcissist during the process is, I'll talk to my attorney.
Exactly right.
I'll talk to my attorney. Or I don't know, just please have your attorney talk to my attorney.
And they hate that.
Yeah, because they want you to engage
They do.
so badly. Even if no matter what level you're engaging, they want you to engage. And if you just shut off the engagement, which you get to do, by the way, if it's not about what time are we picking up the kids or exchanging the kids or the kid had an emergency, then you get to shut them out. You do not have to talk to them about finances. You do not have to talk to them about what are we going to do with the house. You don't have to talk to them about what are we going to do for Christmas this year. Are the in-laws coming? What are we doing? You don't have to speak about anything except the well-being of your children. So for the rest of it, you could say, talk to my attorney, talk to my attorney, talk to my attorney.
That's it. Prioritize outcomes over arguments and let your lawyer do the talking.
Yeah.
And when they realize that you're a blank wall, that puts them in a corner that they don't like to be in.
They go yell at their
That's
attorney.
putting baby in the corner. That's right. And then that attorney gets exasperated and everybody's gaming up on this guy or this girl and you get your case resolved.
Yeah.
So great advice. You got to take it to heart. You're not crazy. They're calculated. And with the right strategy, you can walk away with your peace and power. So subscribe. Don't miss the tools that are popping up on this YouTube channel. Keep watching future episodes. We'll give you all the tools that you need to get through this. Thanks for hanging with us. We'll see you next time.